everybody, it's me, your friendly neighborhood Uncle Pete, and this is my series, Nails in a Coffin, where we learn that with great kills there must also come great nails. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel. If you're new here, you can read what Nails in a Coffin is all about in the section down below, because my videos aren't film reviews, it's rather a breakdown of the kills, and I evaluate how well that victim responded to their attack using my signature Nails in a Coffin rating system. This is my Golden Nail Awards this week. So over the last 2 months, I've covered the Hills Have Eyes franchise. And I rated all the on-screen deaths in all 4 movies, evaluating how well each victim responded to their life-threatening situation. Today, I'm giving you my Golden Nail Awards, where I'll go over each film's average nails in a coffin. I'll rank the movies, and I'll give you my favorite death for each of the nail ratings, giving that person their golden nail. So normally with my Nails in a Coffin Golden Nail Awards, I'll talk about the film with the highest average and the film with the lowest average and compare the two. But as you can see here, they're pretty close together, all 4 films. So there's not much to talk about there. Because you see the first 2 films had the same average of 1.81 nails in the coffin. Remake slightly higher with 2. And Hills Have Eyes 2 just slightly lower than the first 2 films with 1.79 nails. So what that tells me is there was a good balance in this entire franchise of those carnage candy kills, you know, where the victim actually fought, the victim didn't stand a good chance, villains dying, a lot of villains dying in this franchise. So there was a good mix all throughout. Now the overall average for all films, I'm going to go over a little later on in the video, and I'll compare that to the franchise averages for all the other big franchises I've covered here on my channel. Real quick, let's rank these films, which shouldn't take too long, so there's only 4 of them. Starting with number 4, I have The Hills Have Eyes 2. This movie was fine. I enjoyed, the least out of the 4 of them, though. I think they did Ruby wrong, the way she died. You know, she was a survivor of the Hill People clan. She, came to be like a beautiful young woman, successful. And the way they killed her off by just having her knocked down and hitting her head on a rock, I just think she deserved better than that. Also, you had a group of motocross, guys and gals in this film. They really didn't use it that much. They did a little bit, but I would have liked to see them use the bikes a little bit more like they did in the beginning. Maybe get a kill using their skills as a rider. I think it could have added to the film. Otherwise, motocross really didn't come too much into play. So I didn't dislike this film, but I probably wouldn't seek it out again anytime soon. And coming in at number 3, the other Hills Have Eyes 2 from 2007. I still like this film. I enjoyed the military aspect of it, but I didn't like some of the goofy decisions the guardsmen made here, like friendly fire, making the sergeant just a bully who curses out of his subordinates. I was in the military for 22 years. That's really not the type of leadership that's effective. I know it's a trope in movies or whatnot. To me, it's a tired trope. It's just not really the way things are done all the time. Now, it can be effective at certain times, but I just think they always turn it up to 11 in movies like this and just becomes kind of goofy to me. So I did like this film. It was lots of tropes in it. I didn't really care for the a-hole person in charge with something to prove, like the sergeant and whatnot. I also was not a big fan of the essay scene. I don't like those in films. I think it was too gratuitous and went a little too far. I think it was excessive, but overall, not a bad movie at all. And coming in at number 2, and this is where it was actually difficult to choose between these 2 movies, but for number 2, I selected The Hills Have Eyes from 2006. As far as horror remakes go, I would honestly put this in the top 10 best ever. It's not top 3. I mean, we all know the top 3. But I do think it's pretty solid, as far as remakes go. It had enough nods to the original while giving it a fresh coat of paint. And when you love a remake, it doesn't mean you love the original any less. I'm just thankful that there's some great horror remakes out there, and this is a pretty solid one. I've always thought it was kind of fitting that some of the best horror remakes start with The Thing, The Fly, The Blob, and The Hills Have Eyes. It is pretty good, so maybe I'll make a video one day of my favorite top 10 remakes. Let me know in the comments if you would like to see that. But back to the rankings, I did enjoy this film a lot. It had great action, a classic good versus evil story, fleshed out characters, some scary, threatening villains. Yeah, as far as remakes go, it wasn't beat for the original, but it hit all those points you wanted to hit from the original. Like, oh, I remember that. While just, turning it up a notch, giving it a fresh coat of paint, like I said earlier. But as far as remakes go, very solid, and yeah, solid number 2 for these rankings. And we all know where that leaves us. Number one, the original Hills Have Eyes. Not an easy decision because I do enjoy both of these movies. I was going back and forth. And finally, my decision was based on a pair of glasses. And I'll discuss that later on. I love the setting of Wes Craven's classic. The atmosphere is thick. I mean, you almost feel it's hot and dry outside when you're watching this film. It makes you feel a little bit uncomfortable. That's how I felt watching this film. I think it was really well done. The mutants are credible threats. They're ruthless, no remorse, just pure evil. Then you have the good, God loving Carter family, just a wholesome family, really. I did love Doug's character arc. Not as much as I love Doug in the remake, but I did enjoy how he stepped up when it really mattered. I like the trope of the nerdy character, finding that fortitude and becoming the hero of the film. I like when that works well, and this extremely worked well in the original. And one of the main things I loved about this film, because it's one of those movies where it makes you think, hey, this could actually happen to me. It's 100% believable and could be based in reality. And when you have horror like that on a believable scale, I think it makes it more terrifying. We think, hey, this can actually happen to me. Putting yourself in place of the victims, how would you react? And the original Hills Have Eyes do. It makes you feel a little uncomfortable. It's got some good scares, some good moments where you cheer for the heroes. You feel bad for the victims. Just a great blend, a classic slasher from decades ago. Best in the franchise, The Hills Have Eyes. Time to hand out my Golden Nail Award. So these are going to be my favorite deaths for each nail rating I handed out. If I gave a half a nail increment, then that person's eligible for the next higher Golden Nail. For example, if I gave somebody 1.5 nails in a coffin, they're eligible for the Golden 2 Nail Award. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's get down to it. Here are my Golden Nail Awards for the Hills Have Eyes franchise. We'll start with the Golden 1 Nail Award, and the winner of that award goes to Pluto from the original The Hills Have Eyes. A genre legend, Michael Berryman, and he gets killed by the good boy doggy Beast. I'm very much a pet person. I love dogs and cats, and it was so fun to see a dog such an integral part of a slasher because you really don't see that often. Hell, in the sequel, he even had a flashback to the first one. He was pissed when his, beauty was killed, and he wanted revenge. He was a hero pup, and how can you go wrong with that? Now, granted, Pluto gets the award because he was the one who was nailed, but it's 100% because he was killed by the good boy Beast. And the winner of the Golden 2 Nail Award is Big Bob Carter from the original The Hills Have Eyes. He was the second to die in the franchise, and you do need a good kill in the first act of the film to carry it on. It's got to set the stage, bring the audience into the horror, and that was Bob's death. I feel like it did a great job setting up the horror from these hill people. They beat him, tortured him, and then killed him by setting him on fire in front of his family, like on a makeshift cross on a tree. And an unbearable way to die, and his family had to sit there and watch it. And one thing I like, Big Bob wasn't a bad guy. He was just a family patriarch who loved his family. He could have been rated a little bit higher, based on his decisions, but I think he made a poor decision by actually taking that shortcut. Not going to hold it too much against him, but yeah, Big Bob Carter, winner of the Golden 2 Nail Award. The recipient of the Golden 3 Nail Award is Lynn from the original The Hills Have Eyes. 3 in a row. She was played by Dee Wallace, and you gotta love her just for that alone. How could you not love Dee Wallace? She's just amazing. And this is one of the characters that I didn't want to see die. I like when you have a character like that the audience becomes invested in. Like, you don't want to see that person go. And one of the main reasons she gets the Golden 3 Nail Award was, she saw something horrific in the RV and immediately went into attack mode to protect her baby and protect her family. She was shot in the gut, which must have been extremely painful. And after being shot, she still had the fortitude to grab the knife, and she dug it into Mars's leg, trying to stop him from taking her baby or hurting anybody else. She was brave, had a ton of fight. She didn't hesitate. She just reacted, protecting people that she cared about. Yeah, this is exactly what a 3 Nail Award is all about. And look at all the kills in this franchise. There's no doubt Lynn was going to get the Golden 3 Nail Award. And last but certainly not least, the winner of the Golden 4 Nail Award is Ruby from the 2006 remake of The Hills Have Eyes. So all the Hills Have Eyes movies swept the Golden Nail Awards. Original getting 3 and the remake getting 1. I did give Ruby 3.5 nails in a coffin, but that made her eligible, as I said earlier, for the Golden 4 Nail Award. But, Even though she was the only person to get more than 3 nails, granted she gets this award by default, she still deserves it without a shadow of doubt. She knew what life that baby was in for, and she had to protect it. She tried to protect Doug and the baby, and she made sure to save it from the horror that she probably had to endure. She went against her brutal family just to save the life of an unknown child and a person she just met. That's pretty awesome. It's just great. She made the ultimate sacrifice to save Doug and his baby, killing one of her family members. So her life must not have been that good, and I don't doubt it at all. Yeah, a sacrifice kill like death like this is just what giving 4 nails in a coffin is all about. Maybe I should have given her 4 nails, and when I rated her for the film, but 100% she's well deserving of the Golden 4-nail award. Now this is something new. I'm going to hand out my first ever Platinum Hammer Award. So I started it with this franchise. I wanted to give an award to the one person who was the standout of the movie. And I did that for each of the films. And I was calling it my Golden Hammer. The person could have been a victim or survivor. Just someone I like best in the film. Could be a villain, could be a hero, could be anybody. I thought it would be kind of interesting. I decided to call it the Golden Hammer Award. But since I gave that for each individual movie, I got to up the stakes and give out the Platinum Hammer Award. This is going to be my favorite person in the entire franchise. Hero, villain, victim, it doesn't matter. So for the first ever Platinum Hammer Award, that goes to Doug from The Hills Have Eyes, 2006. I like both Dougs in this franchise. But this one, man, did he take a beating. He was thrown through walls, tackled, punched, had fingers cut off. Just got the ever-living crap beat out of him. His wife was killed. His newborn baby was kidnapped. He went through literal hell to get his baby back. And the way he stepped up and just started taking out almost this entire clan by himself. And like I said earlier, I love when you get that trope nerd character showing great bravery and becoming the final guy. And he did so well. Plus, I do have to add something, as I mentioned earlier. I wore glasses most of my life. And I had LASIK a few years ago. So, I don't know how this guy never lost his glasses after everything that happened to him. Hell, I wore glasses. If I bent down to tie my shoe, they would fall off. So, it's one of those standouts in this film. My best friend and I talk about this all the time. Like, how does Doug never lose his glasses? It's just a little side note. I thought it was interesting. That's the only thing. That's probably the deciding factor between this film and the remake and the original. Which one I like better? Because I just thought it was a little unrealistic that Doug still had his glasses by the end of the film. But regardless, he was my favorite character in the entire franchise. I loved his character arc. He got his baby back after losing almost all his family. Kind of heartbreaking, heroic. Everything piled in. So, yeah. Congratulations, Doug. You are the winner of the first ever Platinum Hammer Award. Let's wrap things up by comparing The Hills Have Eyes overall nails on the coffin average compared to the overall averages for all the other franchises I've covered on Nails in the Coffin. So The Hills Have Eyes overall average is just slightly lower than the franchise with the highest average, which I covered last year, which was Saw. Currently holding the #1 spot for the highest overall average is 1.89 nails, but The Hills Have Eyes, good contender, slightly lower with an overall average of 1.85 nails through 41 kills. So I do find it kind of interesting that the Hills Have Eyes franchise has the second highest overall average, but also has the second lowest number of kills, only beating out Urban Legend. But you can see from all the films I've covered here, pretty consistent with the overall averages throughout all these films I've covered. Whether it be a wholesome family on a road trip, a young group of motocross riders, or a National Guard unit on routine patrols, this franchise gives you a classic good versus evil team, and it does it very well. I do enjoy pretty much all these movies. You get the good side of the characters. They're all credible, like people you can relate to in certain ways. Credible families, friends, co-workers. While the Evil Hill people, more so in the originals, are credible threats that 100% probably exist out there. Not so much in the remakes that kind of just up those mutations up. But that original clan, I guarantee that probably exists out there. So I do love the realism, editing it adds to the sphere of this entire franchise. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Those were my Golden Nail Awards for the Hills Have Eyes franchise. Good 4 films. I really enjoyed covering it. So I'll see you here in 3 weeks. I'm going to start writing my book, so I'm going to take a little bit of time off for that. But I have a writing coach. I'm going to give it a shot. We'll see how that goes. But when we see each other again, I'm going to start a new franchise that's probably going to be my most challenging one, the 10th franchise I've covered. I won't say what it is yet, but I'll give you a hint. I'm finally getting to this franchise, and man, it's going to be a doozy. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Help me grow this channel. All the usual, I greatly, much appreciate it. Take care, everybody. Until then, take care, stay safe, be good to each other. I am your friendly neighborhood Uncle Pete, and remember, with great kills, there must also come great nails.